Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you all the books that I plan on reading in the month of November. So in October I read a total of 7 books and I feel like I've been on this reading roll and I want to keep up this momentum, so I'm being a little bit over ambitious. I think I have like 7 books here, so one of them I know comes out towards the end of the month, so I think I'll maybe start it at the end of the month but I won't finish it. But it's still wishful thinking, so I feel like they're kind of all over in terms of genre too, which is always exciting. But yeah, like I said, I've been on like a good reading streak and I just want to keep this momentum going. So these are books that I am really excited about and really ready to kind of like dive right in. So without further ado, let's get started. So starting up, we have a World War II historical fiction novel, and it's been a while since I've read anything like kind of like that, so I wanted to kind of dive back into kind of my historical fiction World War II, obsession. And so this is a book that is actually the Tales and Teacups book club picks for the months of November and December. So if you are interested in participating, I'll have the original video down below. But for these 2 months, we'll be reading Bluebird by Sharon. So this is one I'm really excited about. I know a few of you have already mentioned that you've read or have this book on your TBR, and I hope it will be easy to find at your library if you're interested in participating. But yeah, just the synopsis sounds super interesting. So it says, in 1946, Eva leaves behind the rubble of Berlin for the streets of New York City, stepping from the fiery aftermath of one war into another, far colder one, where power is more important than principles and lies are more plentiful than the truth. Eva holds the key to a deadly secret, Project Bluebird, a horrific experiment on the concentration camps capable of tipping the balance of the world power. Both the Americans and the Soviets want Bluebird, and it is something that neither should be allowed to possess. But Eva hasn't come to America for secrets or power. She hasn't even come for a new life. She has come to America for one thing: justice and the Nazi that has escaped its nets. So I think this sounds super interesting. Like I said, I haven't really read a World War II historical fiction book in a while, and this is one that has been, really, grabbed my interest. And so I hope you guys can read along with me. Like I said, if you want to participate, I'll have the link announcement video down below. But yeah, I thought this one would be a fun book to pick up and something different than what I've recently been reading. So like I said, I'm excited for this one. Next up, this is a book that's been on my TBR for a while that I definitely want to get to, and I feel like November, cold, wet November, dreary November is the perfect time to pick up this book, and it is Strangers We Know by Elle Marr. This was a book that was sent to me by the publisher, so thank you for sending this to me, and it just sounds super interesting. I've been meaning to get to it for a while, and I think now is the good time to do so, where it's kind of the outside, environment kind of reflects the tones of this book. And so it says, adopted when she was only days old, Ivy Hahn knows little about her lineage, but when she's stricken with a mysterious illness, the results of a genetic test to identify the cause attract the FBI. According to Ivy's DNA, she's related to the Full Moon Killer, who has terrorized the Pacific Northwest for decades. Ivy is the FBI's hope to stop the enigmatic predator from killing again. When an online search connects Ivy with her younger cousin, she heads to rural Rock Island, Washington to meet the woman. Motivated by a secret desire to unmask a murderous relative, Ivy reaches out to what's left of a family of strangers. Discovering her mother's tragic fate and her father's disappearance is just beginning. As Ivy ventures into a serial killer's home territory, she realizes that she may be the next victim of poisonous blood ties. I just think this sounds super interesting, and I'm really excited to dive right in. I think this is, I don't know how to describe how excited I am, because I think this concept is so interesting, and finding that you are somehow related to this killer and you want to kind of insert yourself into the family ties that you never knew about in order to unmask what is going on. And I think that sounds super exciting, and I feel like it's just gonna reach a climax and get really exciting. So like I said, I've been waiting to read this one, and I feel like the dreary November weather will be perfect to kind of read this. So next up, this is a new release that comes out mid-November and is The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama, and I loved her memoir Becoming, and I'm just really deeply inspired by Michelle Obama. Like, she is such an incredible person and I definitely do look up to her. So this is her newest book that comes out, and it says for the synopsis here, Michelle Obama offers readers a series of fresh stories and insightful reflections on change, challenge, and power, including her belief that when we light up for others, we can illuminate the richness and potential of the world around us, discovering deeper truths and new pathways from progress. From what I remember too from like the promotion of this when it was announced, it was very much inspired by events that have transpired since basically the pandemic. So talking about the pandemic, January 6th stuff, all that stuff has kind of inspired her to write this book, and I think it'll be really interesting to get her take on this. I think, like I said, she's very insightful and I deeply admire her, so I can't wait to pick this one up as well. Next up, this is a book that my boyfriend recommended to me, and again, I feel like it fits the tone for November, so I'm really excited to dive right in because I think all the books are out in this trilogy too, so if I do like it, I can marathon it in the future, and it is Jade City by Fonda. I just think this sounds super interesting, and I've heard great things about this series overall as well. And it says, for centuries, honorable greenbone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Kong from foreign invasion. Now the war is over and a new generation vies for control of Kong's bustling capital city. Four siblings of the powerful Cole family must prepare for battle, and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break. Again, I think this is kind of I just think it sounds a lot of fun. Like I said, my boyfriend has really good things to say about this, and yeah, like I've heard really great things. I think it kind of has that kind of, like grunge feel to it too. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but I think it would be really fun, and I like how the synopsis is pretty vague too, so I'm curious to kind of dive right into this world because I feel like we don't really know too much but besides like what's on the back, and it says family is duty, magic is power, and honor is everything. So yeah, I just think this sounds interesting, and I like how vague it is because I just want to like dive in and see what it's all about. And it's always fun to find a new series too where all the books are out, so if I want to and I enjoy it, I can definitely marathon it. So this is a new release that comes out at the end of November, and it is A World of Curiosities by Louise. This is book 18 in the Inspector Gamache series. I have this one at hold on the library, so hopefully I'll be one of the first people to read it when it comes out. But again, with crime series, especially ones that I've read a lot of, I don't want to know the synopsis. I just kind of want to dive right in. But this is one of my favorite series of all time. It's near and dear to my heart. But the general premise of the series as a whole is that it follows Inspector Gamache, who is head of the homicide detective department in Quebec, and so a lot of his murders that he investigates somehow integrate a small quaint town called Three Pines and the interesting group of people that live there. And I just love this. I have this whole video dedicated to why I love this series so much, but just the sense of found family. It takes place back home in Canada too, so it kind of reminds me of home when like my home away while I'm living in the States. I just love it so much, and I can't wait to see what Louise has next. Like I said, this is my favorite series of all time. So next up, this is a smaller book, and it's one that's also been on my TBR for a while that I just want to pick up and read. I was going to get to it in October, but I didn't have time, so I'm just carrying it over into this month. And it is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Again, like I said, this book is very short, so it shouldn't be too long, or it shouldn't take too long to read. And it says here, hidden in the depths of 18th century London, a secret apothecary shop caters to an unusual kind of clientele. Women across the city whisper of a mysterious figure named Nella who sells well-disguised poisons to use against the oppressive men in their lives. Nella's dark world is no place for her newest patron, a precocious 12-year-old girl named Eliza Fanning, but their unexpected bond sparks a string of consequences that echoes through the centuries. 200 years later, aspiring historian Caroline Parcell discovers an aged apothecary vial in the River Thames. As she is newly grappling with the searing betrayal betrayal of her husband's infidelity. A curious research project is exactly the distraction Caroline needs, but when she discovers a link between the vial and London's long unsolved apothecary murders, Caroline's upended present soon collides with an explosive history, binding her fate to Nella's and Eliza's in a stunning tryst that transcends the barrier of time. I just think this sounds super interesting. I always love kind of the dual storylines where it's like something happens in the past and someone in the present day is trying to kind of uncover what actually happened, and so you're kind of following the two storylines together, which I really enjoy. But I think this will be fun. Like, I do kind of like the 18th century London vibes, especially having visited it recently. It gives me kind of a good idea. I know like the modern day city looks different to what it was in the 18th century, but I'll kind of know some of the names of the places. So, but yeah, I just think like I said, this book's been on my TBR for a while and it's short, so I think I definitely can pick this one up and finish it this month. And finally, I have The Becoming by Nora Roberts. This is the second book in the Dragonheart Legacy, and I read the first book last year and I really enjoyed it, and I think the final book in this trilogy comes out sometime in November, and I definitely want to be caught up by the time that one comes out. But this takes place where this girl ends up quitting her job as a teacher and she ends up renting this cottage in Ireland, and some weird things are taking place where she finds out that she is related to this fae prince, and so she unearths this kind of fae world that she never knew about. But this fae world is under siege by a dark figure that her father helped kind of weaken for several decades, but now he's gaining strength and it comes off from there. I don't want to know too much about this one too. Like, I think the thing, I took notes because I like remembered bits and pieces of this, but for the most part I really don't remember too much, like specific details, so I'm happy I took notes. But I do love Nora Roberts' fantasy series. I think they're really fun and interesting, and they're very atmospheric too in terms of kind of like, you know, Ireland and like that kind of world that you create in your mind of just like lush green grass and all these things, which I really enjoy. And I think this fae world is also very interesting as well in terms of, you know, dragons and like all these other things that are integrated into this world. I think are a lot of fun. So like I said, this one I haven't read in a while, and I definitely want to pick this one up soon. I think it will be a lot of fun to kind of dive right back into this world, having been away from it for a while. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what books you plan to read this month and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.